Hello. I hope that you will be kind and not judge me for my messy hair. It's Sunday and I decided to let myself be restful and take it easy. And I'm just in awe of our cycles and how things repeat like patterns in our lives. And I'll explain in a moment, but I was on Facebook and I noticed I had all of these memories popping up. And I thought, it's interesting how certain things happen in my life around certain times of the year. And if you know me, you probably know that I'm obsessed with astrology. And I really am interested in numerology and ancient wisdom and how all of these things interlink, like the hieroglyphs in Egypt, and archetypal alchemy and Kundalini yoga. Anyway, I digress. My point is, when I popped on to Facebook today, I noticed that 4 years ago today, I posted my first photo from Egypt. And it was at a resort right across the street from the Great Pyramids in the Giza Strip. And then I was scrolling through the memories and I started teaching yoga at a new studio that unfortunately didn't make it through the pandemic. My first class was that day, this day, the following year. And then the year after that, I made my first YouTube video, and it was shortly after coming back from my trip to West Africa in Ghana. And I thought, well, wow, this synchronistic flow here is pretty palpable. And so I thought, what is it about this Pisces season that has me diving into new beginnings? And I know when I decided to go to Egypt, it was like a super last minute thing. I heard about it in September, and then I hemmed and hawed about it. And I think it was around November 11th that I reached out and was like, okay, I would like the information, please. And there was still space for me at that time. And then I think it was around my birthday in December that I actually asked for the time off from work. And I was like, if my boss approves the time off, I'm going. And my boss, like, I only had 3 weeks vacation at that time, and the tour was 18 days. And of course, I wanted some recovery days when I got home because it's a long flight and there's a big time change. I think it's 6 hours. Anyway, my boss was like, of course I'm approving this. And I'm like, what? Okay. I guess I'm going to Egypt. And it was like the most money I've ever spent on myself for something like that. It was the longest I've ever been away from home in one time frame. I know, 18 days. It was my first time going to the continent of Africa. It's my first time for so many things. And I can literally say, oh my gosh, I feel emotional, that I am not the same person that I was before I went there. And it's funny, ironic, that I actually fractured my foot the January before I left. And I left like 2 months later. And my friends were like, oh my gosh, your foot, how are you going to walk around Egypt? I was like, are you kidding me? It's going to heal. And it healed in 2 weeks. And I remember going back to the fracture clinic, and the orthopedic surgeon was like, this must have been an old fracture because fractures don't heal that fast. And I'm like, well, I've never hurt that part of my body before. And he's like, well, it shows on the original x-ray, but it doesn't show on this x-ray. And I know I did a planetary healing circle prior to that appointment, and I had been doing energy healing on it. And I just kind of went to the doctor. I'm glad it's better now. And so I started walking on it after that, and it was fine in Egypt. I didn't even have any issues. I even went back to boxing. I mean, technically I boxed on it when it was broken too. And it took 3 days for me to go to the doctor to actually get the first x-ray. And my doctor called me and was like, please stop walking on your broken foot. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know why I shared all of that with you, but now you have a little preview into who is Marie-Louise. And so that trip happened in Egypt, and it was epic, like beyond epic. And I remember when we started the journey, we went between the paws of the Sphinx, and the night before we had a supper with our guide, Zara Indigo. And she asked us to write down our intention for being there. And I remember so clearly writing down, I'm here to learn about real love. And oh my goddess, did I get that? And I have so much to learn still. But that was epic in itself, in how Egypt showed me so many different reflections of what true love is. And I could probably write an entire book on that experience, but I will save it. I love to share those stories in my classes though. So when I came home, I remember hearing Zara Indigo say to land softly. And at the time, that was not something that I had a concept of. Like I literally just told you, I did an entire boxing class. I had broken my foot, and I continued the whole class doing pendulum on a broken foot, because landing softly wasn't part of my program. I literally only knew how to push through things, how to rise above them, how to keep going, how to, you know, like forget about the pain and just do what needs to be done. And that served me well up until that point. But when I came home from Egypt, I remember being so tired and feeling like major jet lag, but also it was a spiritual journey, right? So there was a lot of shifting happening in my consciousness, and it was an intimate group of people, some of who I knew from other trainings in alchemical healing, and some of them, 3 of them, were brand new to me and are obviously our Egyptologists and all of the people from Egypt who were there on the journey and the Nile cruise were all new to me. So when I came home, I had a few days off work, and then it was the weekend, and then I went back to work. And I remember it was exactly 2 weeks after I came home from Egypt. I was on the highway. It was the day before the Easter long weekend, so it was Thursday. I had already finished work. I was at an appointment in Waterloo for a personal matter, and I'm sitting in traffic, and I had gotten over to the passing lane because I was in Waterloo and I had to drive all the way to Kitchener. And at that time of day, there's all kinds of people trying to merge at every exit. So I'm like, I'm just going to move over here. And the traffic was stopped in front of me. So I stopped. And I remember looking down for a moment. And all of a sudden, like my car was shaking. And I had this like, what just happened? Like it didn't first click to me that someone rear-ended me. And I remember getting out of the car and saying to the guy, like, I don't want to deal with insurance. Those are like the first words out of my mouth, which to me is hilarious. And I was so angry. I was like, this is annoying. This is a nuisance. Like, this is not a soft landing. And he said to me, I didn't even see you. And I thought, interesting, because my car is like bright white on the dark asphalt. But again, it was the Thursday before a long weekend and there was a lot of traffic and, you know, people get distracted. It happens. I wasn't mad at him. I was just annoyed that now I had to go to the police station and like deal with stuff. So anyway, long story short, I'm still recovering from that in a few ways. And a year after that, I was like, Marie-Louise, you really have to do something with your life. Like I quit my job because I couldn't do the job anymore. And I remember meditating the one day and I was just like, what do I do now? And I had this little to look up yoga studios that might be interested in offering Kundalini yoga because I felt like that was something unique that I could offer that wasn't really happening here. So I called, and the first studio I called, the woman was like totally into it. She was like, yeah, come in, do an interview. And so I did actually yoga nidra for my interview, and she loved it. And she hired me as a volunteer first. So I was like assisting her in her therapeutic yoga classes, doing like hands-on massage and stuff, which I love doing. Oh my gosh, face massages and head massages and hands and feet and using essential oils. Like I was just loving it. And she's like, you can do yoga here as the exchange. I'm like, what a gift. This is beautiful. I have a place to go. I have a community. It gets me out of the house. And then almost right away, she offered me my first Kundalini yoga class. She even like changed the schedule that had already been released. And it was starting, I think yesterday, but like 3 years ago. And so the year after that, I decided, actually ended up quitting that job. And then the studio closed. But I quit, and then I think January, and then I went to West Africa and Ghana for 9 days this time. Maybe it was 10. Either way, it was for another Kundalini training, my first level 2. And that was epic. It was my first time traveling where I didn't know anybody other than one of the teachers, Krishna Kaur, who is like a legend in the Kundalini yoga world. She's been practicing for more than 50 years. She's in her 80s, and she is just like a powerhouse. She still does 108 frogs every day. Like, anyways. And I came back from that trip, and all of this stuff got released about Yogi Bhajan, the guy who brought Kundalini yoga to North America. And at that time, it was all considered allegations, and they were investigating. And now it's come out that, it's been verified that he was engaging in sexual activity that was, anyways, there's all kinds of stuff. You can read the reports if you want to online. But I made my first video, and I'm like, this needs to go somewhere. I was so passionate and so emotional in that video. Like, again, I am not that person. I have changed so much since then. And that was 2 years ago in 2020 on this day. And then last year on this day, we were basically during the pandemic, and I signed up for my third level 2 training then, which didn't end up starting until much later than it was supposed to. And then this year I thought, I haven't really done anything epic last year or this year around this time of year. And I wonder why there were those 3 big, bold moves, and now 2 years of holding the pose. And then I sort of leaned into that and realized, like, I've been transforming. I've been investing in myself. I've been embodying the lessons about true love. And I have offered so many new play shops and put out so many new offerings in February and this month. And there's actually something else that's I'm not announcing yet, but hopefully I'll be able to share that with you soon. And there's value in both, the action, but also in holding the pose and allowing yourself this space to expand. And so I wonder, what time of the year is your time of year when you love to start new things? Or have you noticed a pattern of when your big new beginnings are in your life? And is it a pattern, or is it totally random? Yeah, and if you want to share, I would love to hear from you. And if you would love to dive deeper into some of the ways that I've been playing in life, I have several offerings right now. I'm just wrapping up the numerology and 10 bodies series. We just have a couple classes left. And then on March 20th, which is during the spring equinox, we have a hybrid online and in-person Kundalini yoga intro play shop. And I'm most excited about that because we can actually be with each other in a space and breathe and chant together and hear each other and feel each other's vibrational frequency without the separation of screens. And if you prefer to do that from home and tune in via the screen, it's optional. But we have the option for full presence. And I'm so excited. It's been a couple of years since I've taught in person. And then I also have the following Sunday, the 27th, from 7 to 9. There is a Divine Feminine Bliss play shop. So it's a real deep dive into the essence of our breath and its potentiality in shifting our frequency. There's space to connect with the conscious community, and we still have a few spaces left. I actually have a separate video, a short on that. If you want, you can check that out. And then we will do some movement together. It's very gentle. And then we finish with a guided meditation practice, which is almost like dreaming while awake. Pretty powerful stuff, Yoga Nidra. And what else? There's something I'm forgetting about. So funny. I have my regular Moon Day meditation gatherings on Monday evenings, 7 till 7:45 Eastern Standard Time, and I just clicked. The other thing I'm offering is a Moon Magic Play Shop series where we play with the moon cycle and your own moon cycle and the alignment of that, and offering tools and gifts and ways to move with ease and grace through all of the parts of your cycle in community. And there's separate videos on each one of those. They're just shorts. So if you're interested, send me a message. My email will be available in the description box. And otherwise, thanks for being here. I deeply appreciate your presence. And if you enjoy hearing my stories and sharing my journey, I will love to have you join the community and subscribe to this channel. And if you like the content of this video, please smash the like button, or you can gently tap it, whatever suits you. And I will see you in the next one. So much love. Mwah.